pro-Russian line of the Party of Regions. Yulia Tymoshenko has not commented thus far on the Medvedev announcement, the Medvedev letter. She's continuing silence on this thing, which leads people to speculate that that she had okayed this Medvedev letter in advance with Medvedev, that she would not go after him, possibly in return for his support during the election. Now, these are all speculations, and nobody really knows what's going on. What is also very disturbing is that the use of official government websites and blogs and what to disseminate this information. It's become a common practice in Russia that not many of the private blogs, Kompromat.ru and others, do this on their own. I mean, these are not government-controlled, really, websites. But when the website of the President of the Russian Federation begins actively disseminating this information and whipping up anti-Ukrainian hysteria, then it's very dangerous. Let me give you some examples of the comments that were placed on Medvedev's blog site by Russians, the comments by readers. One, we can get a knife in the back from Ukraine any time. History has not taught Russia anything. Then, another one. Ukraine is an artificial state. This is what Putin once told George Bush, who whispered in his ear. Ukraine is an artificial state, something created by the Bolsheviks after their coming to power. Then, I am a Russian citizen, unfortunate to be living in Odessa. Why unfortunate? It's a nice place to live. I was against the collapse of the USSR and observed the era of Gorbachev-Yeltsin, which was very strange. I am very grateful to you, Dmitry Anatolievich, about what concerns Ukraine. This kind of chauvinistic, great power chauvinism, as Lenin called it, response, and there are like 70 or 80 comments all in this vein on the website. You can believe that some of these are probably genuine. I don't think Medvedev sitting around writing comments to his own letter, or his staff is doing that. But I'll give you an example of how it is. About a year and a half ago, I was in a foreign country where I was at a gathering of Russians who were on vacation. Among them was a helper in the presidential administration, an advisor to Medvedev. And I didn't say that I was Ukrainian. I said that I'm an American, and it didn't even mention that I'm from Ukrainian heritage. And I asked him something. Later on, he was a bit tipsy, and so was the rest of the crew. And I asked him, well, what's going on with those Ukrainians? And then he went into this rampage. I mean, this is not a country. This is all nonsense. This is all nationalists and whatever. I had heard this, in the 1970s and 80s, but hearing it in 2008 was just shocking in a way, and not from an average Russian citizen, but from somebody who's an advisor to the president. So you get a feeling of what is really going on in their minds, how they really see the situation among themselves. When they get together and they discuss policy and they discuss what they're going to do. The only reason they haven't acted as they did against Georgia was because Ukraine is much bigger. and they might get their noses bloody. And besides, by attacking or going militarily after Ukraine, as they did after Georgia, would be very risky, extremely risky, which I don't believe that's an option that they want to take. But the situation is slowly building up. I expect in the next few months that there will be similar exchanges, but on a lower level, between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia and Ukraine and various other civil organizations. They'll begin making accusations against Ukraine. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how the Ukrainians react to this and how the West. I haven't seen any reactions from the European Union. I believe the State Department spokesman here in the United States yesterday said, sort of came out against Medvedev's position, saying that the Ukrainians have a perfect right to join NATO and whatever. But the Europeans have been very silent, and that's possibly because they're all on vacation right now in August, and they haven't caught up with what's going on. Or second is that they really don't want to jeopardize a lot of other things, as gas supplies, negotiations over Nabucco and other things, by joining into this fight. And for them, it's very dangerous. I mean, the Europeans, especially Berlusconi and the Germans and the Italians and the Germans essentially have sort of left the Ukrainian issue alone, have been pretty consistent in supporting Russian energy geopolitics in the region, and are afraid that the Ukrainian-Russian relationship for them is something that could be very counterproductive if they took, or they went along with, say, Ukraine's point of view, or went along with the Russian point of view. They would rather leave it alone and wait and see. So, do we have any questions at this stage? Sir, Ken Basang.
You touched on You touched on the letter and its possible impacts in terms of some of the candidates responding. Has Yatsenyuk responded at all, and do you see the letter backfiring the way Putin's heavy-handed involvement in 2004 apparently did?
As far as I know, Yatsenyuk has not. I haven't seen any response by Yatsenyuk to the letter. I think there is a good chance that it might backfire. Medvedev's letter might backfire. There was an editorial in the Russian newspaper Vedomosti yesterday, which I was very surprised. They were categorically against Medvedev's letter. And Vedomosti is a very well-known, respected publication. And they said, essentially, that the letter will backfire, that it makes no sense, it doesn't create any possibilities of a dialogue, or it destroys the slim chances that there existed a dialogue, and it was not clear what he wanted to achieve. Now, if Vedomosti is taking this kind of a stance, then I believe others might follow. Novaya Gazeta, of course, where Anna Politkovskaya worked, rejects the Putin line and the Putin-Medvedev line. And so it might not help Medvedev.